Hi, it's Mark from Top Local Lead Generation. We're here with Bernie Pawlik of Pawlik Automotive in Vancouver. He's the owner, manager, guru at Pawlik Automotive. They're 15-time winners of Best Auto Repair in Vancouver, as voted by their customers. How you doing today, Bernie?
I'm really well.
So as we head towards Christmas and December of 2015, we're going to talk about Subaru clutch replacements again. Something different happened this time, I guess. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. We have another Subaru clutch to talk about, a different failure than last week's. And as I mentioned before, I mean, clutches fail in a number of different ways on cars. Most of the time they fail because the clutch disc wears out and the car, when you try to go up a hill, it slips, the engine revs up, the car won't go anywhere. But other failures occur, and quite frequently different things happen. This particular Subaru, the owner was driving and put the clutch pedal down to shift gears, and something just went bang, and it couldn't shift anymore. The pedal stayed stuck on the floor. So they towed the car to us, and we figured, oh, it's probably a clutch hydraulic problem, which can cause that sort of failure. But what was interesting, when we pulled everything apart, we found something completely different, and that is a broken clutch fork. So I'll just share a picture of what we found when we took the transmission out and had a look. This is the clutch fork. Now the clutch fork basically is a pivot between the clutch release bearing and the clutch slave cylinder. And the clutch release bearing is actually the sort of round piece you see at the bottom, that rusty looking piece. That's a bearing that pushes against the clutch pressure plate. And the release, the fork is basically a pivot that goes in between the two. So if you can see if you look in the upper part of the picture, you see this cracked piece of metal. The clutch fork rides on it's like a ball pivot and moves back and forth all the time. And this one, just after a period of time, just snapped and broke. Not a very common issue. We don't see this very often, but we have seen a few Subarus with failed clutch forks, and not with this particular type of failure, but with others. Now here's the clutch put back together with a brand new fork, brand new release bearing, and all looks really good and will function for a long time. With this vehicle, it had about 70,000 miles. It's a US car. So it was about, the clutch was nearly worn out. So at this point, it didn't make any sense just to change the fork, because we would have been back in there in a year or two to replace the rest of the clutch. So that's basically the look of the fork. Do they fail on many other cars? Not particularly. They do fail from time to time. We had another Subaru a while back where the clutch fork broke right where where it spreads out over behind the clutch release bearing. But other than that, not a very common problem, but obviously does happen on some cars, and Subarus in particular.
So if I owned a Subaru, is there something that I could do to prevent or mitigate against this kind of failure?
Not really. I mean, as I alluded to in our last hangout, clutches they're pretty much all internal. They're sandwiched between the engine and transmission. There's nothing you can access. Generally, when anything goes wrong, it's a complete remove and replace. Now, the good news is there's not much you have to do. They're kind of a plug and play device, and when something goes wrong, you have to fix it. There isn't really anything you can lubricate on these things. They do suffer lubrication problems over time, but in order to address that, you'd have to take the whole clutch out. So the key with clutches is really your driving habits, and just develop good clutch. Develop good driving habits with your clutch. Don't use it too often. Don't ride the clutch, which basically means leaving your foot on the pedal, and that's basically it. The clutch, it's pretty well very reliable.
So if you need any kind of repairs on your vehicle, these are the guys to see. Pawlik Automotive in Vancouver, pawlikautomotive.com, or give them a call to book your appointment, 604-327-7112. Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Mark. Talk again soon.